In 1965, Frank Herbert wrote Dune. Dune is a renowned work of art that began in the mind of a great man. Written by the late, great Frank Herbert to present a message of never giving your allegiance blindly. When Dune Messiah released after Dune, it was hit with an intense level of criticism. People didn't understand why their hero was being portrayed this way. Today, we're going to rediscover the events of the famed Dune novel and talk about some great concerns that I have for the movie Dune Messiah. We are first going to go over the events of Dune, and then we will delve into the next title. Please be aware that this video contains spoilers for both Dune and much of Dune Messiah. If you do not wish to hear any of this, you might want to click away. With that being said, if you're still here, I hope you enjoy my concerns for Dune Messiah. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. Born in the year 10,175 of a new age, 20,000 years from our present day, after a victory for mankind over intelligent machines. Born of none other than Duke Leto, the leader of the renowned Atreides, and Lady Jessica, a sister of the mysterious Bene Gesserit order. Paul Atreides was born on Caladan and raised on the luscious green paradise planet filled with oceans and rain, filled with water. Tasked with governing a desert planet scarce of this great resource that sustains life, filled with great behemoths of sand and a native people that were born from the desert. The planet which this entire series revolves, in which the events of great misfortune take place for House Atreides, and which Paul discovers who he is meant to be, and where a new empire will be forged. The planet Arrakis, or as it is more commonly known throughout the universe, Dune. Betrayed by the Padishah Emperor Shaddam IV, and the grotesque man that stands at the head of House Harkonnen, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. The great House Atreides is crushed under the weight of betrayal by a trusted ally, Dr. Wellington Yueh, a Suk doctor who broke from his mental conditioning that should have prevented any form of treachery. In the wake of the collapse of the Atreides, and in the face of heart-wrenching betrayal, fearing for the lives of his son and his partner, Duke Leto Atreides takes his own life in an attempt to end that of the Barons. The Baron narrowly survives the attempt, and House Harkonnen is reinstalled as the powerhouse on Dune, controlling the flow of the addictive, highly sought, and valuable drug that is spice melange. Paul and Jessica escape the attempt on their lives and flee into the deserts, saved by Duncan Idaho, a loyal servant to the Atreides who sacrifices his life to assist in the escape of the mother and son. As they flee into the deserts beyond, they come upon the native people of the land, of which seem to have interest in Paul and see him as a messianic figure, the Lisan al-Gaib. Paul is entranced into the society of the freemen, forming close bonds with many and falling in love with a native woman by the name of Johnny. He fights alongside his Fremen brothers and sisters to interrupt the spice production of the House Harkonnen, earning his Fremen name, Muad'Dib. His mother, the Lady Jessica, is implanted into the society, becoming the Reverend Mother of the Fremen. All this time, Lady Jessica has been pregnant with a daughter by the name of Aaliyah. In the process of becoming a Reverend Mother, Jessica consumes the water of life, with Aaliyah still in the womb. This process affects them both. Aaliyah, who will be viewed as an abomination by the Bene Gesserit Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mohayim, is gifted with the memories of all Reverend Mothers before, and possesses the full powers of Bene Gesserit Reverend Mothers. A few years pass, Aaliyah is born. Paul is firmly established as the Lisan al-Gaib after Siege Tabor. A home to the Fremen is destroyed, and Paul drinks the water of life. A plan to take back the planet of Dune is set in place. The Fremen attack Harkonnen's spice operation relentlessly, resulting in a drastic decrease of spice production. This is noticed by the Padishah Emperor who betrayed the Atreides, Shaddam IV. The Emperor travels to Arrakis to scold the Harkonnens for their failures and to stomp out this Fremen rebellion led by the now-renowned Muad'Dib. It is unknown to the Emperor that the true identity of this figurehead is Paul Atreides, son of the Duke Leto, of whom the Emperor had supplanted years prior. Paul leads an assault on the Harkonnen and the Emperor with the full power of the desert behind him. Fremen ride into battle on the backs of Shai-Hulud, the giant worm of Arrakis, seen to Fremen as an embodiment of their one god. Paul and his army of Fremen easily defeats the army of Harkonnen troops and the Sardaukar soldiers of the Emperor. Paul, alongside his sister Aaliyah and his trusted Fremen warriors, confront the Emperor and Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. The Baron is swiftly killed by Aaliyah, who slashes him with the Gom Jabbar, a needle tipped with deadly poison. Paul himself confronts the Emperor. He asks for the hand of his daughter, Princess Irulan, so that he may become the new Emperor. While Chani, Paul's Fremen partner, does not want this marriage to occur, she understands the necessity. Paul promises Chani that he loves only her, and that this is strictly political to establish his rule. Paul promises Chani that he will never lie with the princess, and that his heart will always belong to Chani. The Emperor denies, and Paul is challenged in a duel to the death by Fade Rautha, nephew to Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. Fade cheats, concealing a poison needle, but is defeated nonetheless by Paul. This defeat forces the hand of the Emperor, who concedes his power to Paul, and Paul stands at the ready to establish his new empire. These were the events of Dune as written by Frank Herbert in 1965. There have been many adaptations to the material, none more successful than Denis Villeneuve, who directed the most recent Dune Part 1 and Part 2. In the course of creating these cinematic masterpieces, there were some liberties taken and changes were made to the initial material. For instance, in Dune Part 2, it is Paul who takes the life of the Baron, not his sister. The time jump of a few years is not seen in the movies as it is in the novel. And another important feature not seen on the silver screen is the fact that Paul has a son with Chani. Unfortunately, he is killed in a raid in the book, to the devastation of his parents. There is a major change in the character of Chani at the end of Dune Part 2. In the novel Dune, Chani wholeheartedly supports Paul and knows the plan to marry Princess Irulan beforehand. It is not a shock to her, and she does not leave him to go off into the desert. Chani does not like the idea of her Usul marrying another woman, but she understands the necessity of it to establish his empire. While there are many small changes in the film, this one has stood out among fans and has been the cause of much discourse in the community. Many were upset at the change in Chani's character and are concerned about how they are going to further Chani's story in the next film. The reason this has created such concern within many Dune fans is that the relationship between Paul and Chani is integral to the story of Dune Messiah and all further novels written by Frank Herbert. Many are unsure of how this major change will affect the established story that many fans have come to know. While this has been an unwanted change to many, the director of Dune Messiah is passionate about the source material, and the fears of those who did not like this will most likely change and be quelled when the movie does finally come out. This change came as a shock to many, but Denis Villeneuve isn't going to turn the entire story of Dune Messiah on its head. He has repeatedly expressed his desire to remain close to the novel within his telling and is working with the Herbert estate to guarantee the film stay faithful to Frank Herbert's Dune. If someone was to read just Dune and never delve into the next chapter of the saga, they would leave thinking that Paul was good to the core and had little flaws. That he truly was the Lisan al-Gaib and the Messiah figure to these people. Maybe the reader will think that Paul will be a fair and virtuous ruler that cares for his empire and does no evil. Maybe they watched the movie and thought to themselves, well, yes, Paul had those visions, but it doesn't mean that he will actually murder all of those people. Well, unfortunately for this reader, they could not be further from reality. Those visions Paul was having, they happen. The murder of billions of people throughout the universe, that happens. Yes, the great Paul Atreides, Usul to his lover, with the warrior's name of Muad'Dib, and the prophesied Lisan al-Gaib of the Fremen people. Yes, that same Paul single-handedly started a jihad of billions. This is going to come as a major shock to many viewers, and my concern here is that it might be received the exact same as the book was received when it was released way back in the late 60s. It wasn't received nearly as well as the first novel, and a lot of the reasons behind that are because of the complicated reality that is presented and the message that it conveys. Frank Herbert made his message clear. He created a character with great flaws that, when followed, did not create universal peace, but instead created widespread chaos. Paul is a fantastically written character that realizes his faults. This is why he walks off into the desert. He rids the world of himself. But the effects of Paul's reign last for thousands of years and can be seen throughout the saga. Paul chooses not to fully give himself over to the prescient vision and tries to warn his son, Leto II, about these abilities. Leto II chooses to fully diverge himself into the role, and this is what leads to the God Emperor of Dune, that reigns for thousands of years after the death of Paul Atreides. Viewers are not always open to seeing their hero be turned into something that causes so much pain and destruction, but that is what Paul is. In the end, this is what Paul warns against, but his son does not heed the warning and fully consumes himself in the powers he's been granted. Dune Messiah is going to be controversial. It was written to be. Denis Villeneuve has his work cut out for him. He fully intends to keep close to the source material, and this is going to be tough for some audiences to receive. With all that being said, when the book was written, many people weren't as open to reading things like this. Good and evil were mostly seen as two completely different, distinct concepts that did not necessarily intermingle. Dune presents good and evil from a completely different perspective and shows that while the intentions of the protagonists may have been good, inevitably their flaws caused chaos. Paul is not a good character. He is extremely flawed, and it shows in Dune Messiah much more in the initial novel. Those prescient visions are there in Dune, but the reality is much more explored in the following chapters. It's going to be very interesting to see how audiences react to this harsh reality. Dune Messiah is sure to be a cinematic masterpiece. It's tackling very difficult topics that aren't going to be easy to watch for many people. It's vital that this message is delivered effectively and stick to the source material enough to convey the original message as intended. With Denis Villeneuve at the helm, it's sure to be a bombshell, and I fully expect it to be on par or even break the box office records of the two previous titles. I thoroughly enjoy Dune Messiah. Its message is strong and it's very important to reality. Never follow people blindly. You have no idea what they are capable of. It's a message that needs to be heard, maybe now more than ever. I can't wait to live through the eyes of this esteemed director as he breaks down the reality of Paul Atreides, as he reveals the true dark side of the Fremen Jihad. He shows the true fear inside of Paul, and he presents a great message of importance to the world. I really hope you enjoyed this video today. Thanks for watching if you did make it all the way through. It would be really awesome if you did like and subscribe to this channel as we are trying to grow. It's something that I've been enjoying doing, and I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can, as long as I have the time. So Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed, and please leave some stuff in the comments about your concerns about Dune Messiah. What do you want to know? What do you want to see in the new movie? What do you like about the story Dune Messiah? What do you not like about the story Dune Messiah? Do you like the changes that Denis Villeneuve made to the original Dune material? Do you like that Chani is kind of a different character at the end? Do you like not including Aaliyah as the one that killed Baron Vladimir Harkonnen? I want to know, so please like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video.